Okay, so sorry about that. We lost the feed. So I'm going to run it at 1.2 speed. I hope that doesn't annoy you too much.
Christmas of war and loss.
Really sorry about that.
A Ukrainian family I met last week spoke movingly of the help and
picking up
support
from
that
where
they'd received from our community in Newport, but also of the real pain of separation.
Thanks for coming back. Diz, Gallifreyan Wren, Unquiet Badger, Liam, Vendetta, thank you.
Paying tribute to the bravery of these families and those that support them. And can he also take this opportunity for them in giving the House an update on what more we can do from this government to support our Ukrainian friends?
Prime Minister.
So sorry.
Well, can I heartily agree with her? British families have shown incredible kindness and hospitality. We have been working by way of update with our allies on frozen Russian assets to support Ukrainians in their hour of need. Today, Mr Speaker, I can announce that we're issuing a licence to transfer £2.5 billion from the sale of Chelsea Football Club. That's been frozen, those funds, since 2022. My message to Abramovich is this: the clock is ticking. Honour the commitment that you made and pay up now. And if you don't, we're prepared to go to court so every penny reaches those whose lives have been torn apart by Putin's illegal war.
Sir Ed Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I wish you, everyone in the whole House and the whole country, a merry and peaceful Christmas? And can I join the Prime Minister in expressing our horror at the appalling anti-Semitic terror attacks on Bondi Beach on the first day of Hanukkah? Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and friends of all those who've been killed and injured in this senseless act of violence, and our thoughts with the whole Jewish community. Mr Speaker, I'm sure we've all heard British Jews explain how they no longer feel safe in this country. Many of us have friends who volunteer to put on stab vests and stand guard outside their synagogue, and at Heaton Park in October, we saw why. Anti-Semitism is real, it is poisonous. We must all work together to stamp it out. The Board of Deputies have called for a comprehensive government strategy to tackle anti-Semitism. So will the Prime Minister commit to that today and set out what concrete steps he's taking to make sure Jewish people are safe in Britain?
Prime Minister.
Well, can I thank him for raising this really important issue? And it is really important that we have actions that match the words that we have expressed in response to these horrific attacks. The actions we've taken so far are increasing the funding for Jewish security up to £28 million. I'm pleased to do that, but I'm sad to do that. Having to pay more money to provide security for people to be at their place of worship and to go to school is a sad thing for this country to have to do. I've ordered a review of protest and hate crime laws to stop protests breeding hatred. We're looking at new police powers to deal with repeat and targeted
Thanks for the heads up.
And we've launched a review and training to tackle anti-Semitism in the NHS. There are other steps that we are talking to the community about taking, but all of those actions have already started.
Ed Davey.
Thank the Prime Minister for that answer, and I hope he will look at the proposal from the Board of Deputies. I think we can work across this House to end the scourge of anti-Semitism. Mr Speaker, turning to the NHS. Even before today's irresponsible strike by the resident doctors, patients were facing a terrible winter crisis. Thousands have been left on trolleys in hospital corridors for hours, no privacy, no dignity, some even soiling themselves because there was no response. And there's been some tragic cases, Mr Speaker, some people even dying on those trolleys and left undiscovered for hours. And the expectation is that this could get worse. So will the Prime Minister make this his #1 priority to end this crisis with a mass vaccination programme to stop so many people ending up in hospital with this virus, and funding the social care places people need to leave hospital when they're ready?
Can I say how unacceptable the conditions that some are enduring in our hospitals are? And there's no excuse, and it is our #1 priority. On vaccinations, we've had over 17 million patients vaccinated this year. That's an increase on last year, but I want to drive that up again next year because vaccinations make such a difference, both to patients and those who are staffed within the hospitals. And of course, we've touched on social care. Thank you.
Lord McAvoy.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and Merry Christmas to you and all your fantastic staff. Prime Minister, 2025 has been a momentous year for Darlington, Britain's best town, but there is much more to do. I met a lovely woman out door knocking recently, and she works 12-hour night shifts at a care home in the town. Her colleagues are on minimum wage, and many care workers across the town aren't even paid time and a half for working on Christmas Day. Like so many in her profession, she wants the system fixed not for herself but for her residents. I believe that starts with radical improvements to care workers' terms and conditions. Prime Minister, this workforce of mostly women do essential, skilled and exhausting work without fuss, fanfare and still without fair pay. They deserve better. What can I tell the Darlington care workers will improve for them by this time next year at Christmas?
Minister.
Can I thank her? Carers are incredibly skilled workers. My sister is one of them, and I'm very proud of them and her for their invaluable work. I'm pleased that we've increased the carers' allowance earnings limit by the largest amount since it was introduced, and we're providing £500 million to fund the first ever fair pay agreement through the Employment Rights Act, which was passed yesterday to make sure care workers are properly recognised and rewarded.
Stephen Flynn.
It's the season of goodwill, so with that in mind, I don't intend, it is indeed the season of goodwill, so with that in mind, I don't intend on asking the Prime Minister about his broken promises on energy bills, the 1,000 jobs being lost in the North Sea, the fact that Peter Mandelson is still a member of the House of Lords. I won't even ask him about the chaos that is engulfing the Labour Party, his budget and indeed his own leadership. No, Mr Speaker, I simply want to wish the Prime Minister Happy Christmas. How does he intend on spending his final one in Downing Street?
I'm going to get an
Very
update
good
from the
question.
Chancellor on
Very good.
Grangemouth in just a minute. He's clearly not interested in Grangemouth. You would have thought on a day like this that he'd want to welcome the £120 million of investment into Grangemouth. It's a landmark investment protecting 500 jobs and hundreds more across Scotland's supply chain. And he can't even bring himself to mention it. Mr Speaker, that's on top of the Typhoon defence jobs in Edinburgh and shipbuilding jobs on the Clyde. And after decades of SNP rule, they're totally out of ideas. They can't even welcome the Grangemouth news. Scotland deserves change next year with Anna Sawa.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In 2020, my constituents, John and Karen Rowlands, lost their son Andrew in a road collision. He was just 18 years old and a passenger. Like too many others, Mr Speaker, the driver of the car should never have been on the roads. He was underage, unlicensed and uninsured and bought the car on social media using cash. Can the Prime Minister tell me how bereaved families like the Rowlands can have a meaningful say on our road safety strategy and ensure the right checks are in place to prevent future tragedies?
Prime Minister.
Can I send, I'm sure, condolences of the whole House to Andrew's family. It's an awful case, and every life that's lost to dangerous driving is a tragedy. In terms of the range of measures that we're taking to protect young drivers, they include penalties for driving uninsured and unlicensed, and measures to reduce the risks posed by unroadworthy vehicles. And in terms of influence of her and her constituents, I'd be very happy to set up an appropriate meeting for her constituents.
Ben Maguire.
And I thank the Prime Minister for confirming a Cornwall-only devolution deal since my last PMQ. In 1988, over 20,000 North Cornwall constituents were poisoned by the South West Water Authority. In a recent BBC documentary, strong suggestions were made of a cover-up by the Thatcher government. None of those victims have ever been properly compensated. And today, South West Water poisoned my constituents with impunity with their constant sewage dumping. Christmas swims across Cornwall have been cancelled again, while constituents like William Howes in Padstow have been hospitalised. Will the Prime Minister please meet with me to finally deliver justice to all water poisoning victims and make sure this never happens again?
Prime Minister.
Well, it is right to remind us of what was a terrible scandal, and I will ask the Water Minister to meet.
Thanks very much to Resloy for the coffee fund. Oh, thanks so much,
He and the
Resloy.
public
That's
are
very
rightly
kind of you.
furious that companies are still polluting our seas, lakes and rivers. Mr Speaker, we've taken action banning bonuses for bosses in 6 polluting companies, changing the law so that those who hide sewage bills can be locked up, and issuing almost £30 million in fines to clean up waterways. We're clearing up the mess that the party over there left, like everything else.
Tonya Babs.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The West Midlands car industry is well famous, and this government backs our automotive sector. We got a US trade deal, and when criminals shut down production at Jaguar Land Rover, we backed the supply chain.
All right.
Brilliant companies
All right,
like
calm
JH
down.
Lavender in my constituency.
Okay, wow.
In contrast with the member
Jesus.
for Clacton, not here as usual, who said, "I predict Jaguar will now go bust," and they deserve to. Would the Prime Minister agree with me agree that the workers of the West Midlands and the entire country need a Labour government and can't afford the economic vandalism of Reform UK.
Jesus Christ.
Apparently the leader of Reform's in the lounge. I know he likes an early getaway at Christmas to get to his place in France. But Mr. Speaker, he lobbied for economic sanctions against his own country when he was in the United States, with no thought for British workers and zero patriotism. The difference is our US deal secured the best deal for the car industry, providing certainty for the workforce at JLR.
She was a bit shouty, Gallifrey, man. It's a bit scary. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of her in a customer relations debate. Customer relations situation.
Compliment the Prime Minister on the work he's done on Ukraine and wish him well over Christmas on that topic. Mr. Speaker, pubs are at the centre of rural communities in areas such as North Yorkshire. They are under more pressure than ever before. Could I urge the Prime Minister and the Government to look again at the rates issue and to look at how to relax the transitional relief for those pubs, many of which are otherwise going to close?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is an important sector. At the heart of this challenge is the end of the temporary relief that was put in place during COVID, and that's why we put in place the transitional measures. And investing £500,000 into a hospitality support scheme to help rural pubs diversify. On issues like the cost of living, we've taken a number of measures to make it easier for people to go out and enjoy themselves in pubs, and we'll always look at what measures we can put in place to support pubs.
Abe Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. People across Lichfield, Burntwood and the villages will be looking forward to a very happy new year, not least because of this government's commitment to the Midland Rail Hub project, which will revolutionise rail travel across the West Midlands and further afield. We are all really eager to see a better service between Lichfield and Birmingham as soon as possible, though. So will the Prime Minister join my campaign for a more regular service on the cross-city line? And can he confirm that rail commuters will benefit from frozen fares because of this Labour government?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the hub means more regular services for up to 15 stations across the region. That's vital after the Lichfield to Birmingham service was slashed under the previous government. The construction will create around 13,000 jobs, and we're delivering them as quickly as possible with Network Rail awarding design contracts this week. Mr. Speaker, we're also freezing rail fares. That's the first time that that's happened in 30 years, saving his constituents about £90 a year on the commute to Birmingham.
Andrew Snell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As the ghost of Christmas past scoops up the Prime Minister from his slumber in number 10 this year, I wonder what he will show him on Christmas Eve. Maybe it would be the devastated family farmer putting up the for sale sign on the yard, or the children hugging each other as their independent school closes, or any of the 100,000 hospitality workers who have lost their jobs, or the millions of families that are trying to work out how they will pay their tax bill to fund the ever-growing welfare state. So is it no wonder that the ghost of Christmas future has given up on this Prime Minister? And all that is left is for him to get his bag of coal from Santa and his P45 from his own MP.
Jesus Christ.
Happy Christmas. I saw that the honourable member was asking the public to suggest questions for today. I actually put in a bid, Mr. Speaker. I filled it in. I assume he missed the question. I said he should ask about the 6,000 well-paid, high-skilled jobs we've secured in his constituency, building platforms. Thanks for an £8 billion deal with Turkey. I'm disappointed that he didn't want to talk about good, well-paid jobs in his constituency secured by this Labour government.
Mr. Speaker, just days before Christmas, heartbroken Derbyshire families and staff have learnt that the Reform-led council are closing 8 care homes, including Rowthorne in Amber Valley. And that comes just days after learning that the council's cost-saving claims were entirely fabricated. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that when Reform talk about Doge, what they're actually talking about is cutting vital public services? And will he join me in urging Derbyshire County Council to think again?
Well, it is deeply concerning to hear about the closure of 8 Derbyshire care homes by the Reform-led Derbyshire Council. It will be hugely concerning to residents and to their families, while we're making £3.7 billion of extra funding available to councils to fund social care. And let me say to the member for Clacton, relaxing in the lounge, Christmas is a time for forgiveness. It's never too late to apologise to former classmates.
Timothy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Labour's tax rises mean lower growth and higher unemployment, and the reason for the tax rises is government spending. The Prime Minister personally promised the country to limit spending increases to £9.5 billion a year. So what mandate did he have in his first 2 budgets to increase annual spending 15 times faster by £146 billion?
Mr. Speaker, we had a mandate to change because we inherited major challenges across the country. If only he'd done something to solve these problems when he was working in Downing Street. He left a complete mess.
Dale Duncan Jordan.
Mr. Speaker, over the past few weeks, I've been contacted by a number of constituents who work in the health and care sector because they are concerned about the proposed changes to the rules surrounding indefinite leave to remain. These individuals came to this country to do a job we asked them to do, and then we decided to change the rules halfway through the process. Does the Prime Minister agree that if we are to be a proud, rules-based nation, going back on our word to people who are contributing to our society and building lives here is not only just unfair, it's also profoundly un-British?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're replacing a failed settlement system with one that is fair and recognises contribution. It is right to apply more stringent controls, and we're currently consulting on the right approach. I do recognise the huge contribution of those working in our NHS and will not change the rules for those who already have settled status.
Sir John Whittingdale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Jimmy Lai is 79 and is a British citizen. He has already been in prison in Hong Kong for 5 years, simply for being a journalist. If he receives a further sentence on the 12th of January, he is likely to die in prison. Will the Prime Minister make clear that his visit to Beijing can only go ahead if Jimmy Lai is released?
Prime Minister.
I thank him for raising this really important case, and as he knows, we continually raise this with our counterparts and will continue to do so. And I condemn the conviction. Obviously, we await the sentence, but it's absolutely clear they've been targeted by the authorities, and this is wrongful, and I call it out. It is important that we continue to engage so that we can raise this issue with those counterparts.
Sam Calling.
In September, a National Secular Society report highlighted alarming numbers of extremist religious organisations in the UK from various faith traditions expressing hideous views about women, including promoting female genital mutilation and denying the existence of marital rape. Many of these are registered as charities and therefore eligible for various tax exemptions, as well as thousands or even millions of pounds in public money through gift aid. So will the Prime Minister, as part of the government's mission to halve violence against women and girls, support my campaign for a review of charity law and regulation so that we can make sure the UK taxpayer isn't funding extremism and hate?
Fair enough. Can I thank him for raising this really important issue? The scale of violence and abuse suffered by women and girls is a national emergency, and the Violence Against Women and Girls strategy will be published tomorrow, setting out concrete steps in order to deal with this. We've already taken action to protect victims, including placing domestic abuse specialists in the first 5 999 control rooms, and we're launching a new national policing centre to coordinate police response and target these crimes. I'll make sure that ministers look specifically at the issues that he's raised.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What?
Yesterday, the Minister of State for Justice
God.
declined a meeting with the representatives of a number of
Still
hunger
lucky about
strikers in
Corbyn.
prison at the present time. These are all remand prisoners. They're not convicted of anything. Since then, a further prisoner, Kazam, has been taken to hospital, as have others. Many people are very concerned about the regular breaches of prison conditions and prison rules in respect to these hunger strikers. Will he make arrangements for the Ministry of Justice to meet representatives of hunger strikers to discuss these breaches of the conditions that they're experiencing at the present time?
No. Prime Minister.
Well, he will appreciate there are rules and procedures in place in relation to hunger strikes, and we're following those rules and procedures.
Abdissam Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. England is the only country in the world with a fully privatised and monopolised water system, and is broken. My constituents in Sheffield Central, like many across the country, continue to face burst water pipes, polluted rivers and rising bills. All while the Chief Executive of Yorkshire Water has taken 1.3 million in bonus payments to an offshore company, and that's on top of her very healthy £660,000 salary. Will the Prime Minister assure the House that the forthcoming water white paper will have stronger accountability and put public interest first before bosses' bonuses? And more importantly, will it consider bringing the essential public service back into House?
Prime Minister.
Yes, is the simple answer to that question. And our decisions are already holding polluters to account. Mr. Speaker, new severe fines, banning bonuses, and a record 83 criminal investigations have been launched. We've also secured over £100 billion of investment to upgrade infrastructure to deliver better services to constituents.
Final question, David Mundell.
Deliver.
Mr. Speaker,
On Sunday at Arlington Cemetery, I will have the honour of joining family and friends of many of the victims of the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie on the 21st of December 1988, the worst terrorist atrocity in the United Kingdom. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that, especially after all these years, those family and friends deserve both truth and justice? And will the United Kingdom Government continue to do all it can to bring about that outcome?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this? And nobody could forget the shocking scenes at Lockerbie. And I know the huge impact it's had on the community that he grew up in, where people have responded with such compassion and strength. He has rightly stood by their search for justice and truth for all of the intervening years, and I pay tribute to that. All of our thoughts remain with the families and friends of all the victims who deserve truth, and I urge the Scottish authorities to consider the points that he raises.
We'll let the front benches change over.
Will you? Okay.
You didn't ask a question, so I don't know you can have a point of order. Sorry? No, but you didn't ask a question. Maybe somebody who'd asked a question would be better.
That was interesting at the end there. Someone saying, a point of order. So, well, you didn't ask a question. Can't make a point of order unless you asked a question. So people are filing out there. I've got a new animation for you. Look, it says shame. Look at this. Shame. Oh, I like that. That's quite cool. I'll have to use that sometime. Okay, so I'm going back to this screen here. Plop that out my ear. Don't know what's happening now. There's an urgent question on the Northern Ireland Troubles. And I'll just say hello to everyone in the chat. Good Lord, I would have put money on him being a young Tory, says Graham Price. Not a bad question, though, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. Just nationalise the water companies already, says Mark. Yeah, I don't understand why they can't just renationalise the fucking water. If anyone wants to explain that to me in words of one syllable, that would be fantastic. I mean, you know, you change the law, don't you? You change the law. Yeah. So, as funny as it is, I can't imagine they're banned from Westminster's canteen. Well, that's the problem that I've got. I've got really kind of pissed off that we are forced to subsidise the sandwiches and the beer of Nigel Farage, who's made £1 million this year, or £1.5 million from being a gobshite, you know, just shilling stuff on the side. Shilling. Too much debt, Graham, apparently. Yeah, but they're the government. Right, these are private companies, and they're saddled with loads of debt, and they've got to fix all this stuff that they said that they fucked, right? So what you do is you fucking wind them up and fucking sue them into oblivion. And then use the money that you got from suing them into, you know, do the stuff that needs to be done. I mean, that's the way I'll do it. But, you know, there's obviously reasons. There are reasons, raison d'etres. So I set up a goal, which was a stupid thing to do because you don't really get many super chats on the old PMQs. My stereo is fired up. Please swear loudly. Well, there you go. Apparently, Trump has been told to turn over his medical records as one of his lawsuits against one of his enemies has backfired on him. The demand was made in legal papers filed by the border journalism's most prestigious prize, the Pulitzer, as part of a defamation lawsuit Trump filed in 2022 over reporting an investigation into his Russian ties. Now, however, the Pulitzer's board's attorneys have hit back in the most personal way possible for the ailing 79-year-old president. They've given him 30 days to hand over all tax documents and all documents concerning his medical or psychological health. He's not going to hand that over, but wowzers, strousers. So yeah, if he wants to continue on with the court case, it's discovery, innit? I love the idea that he's got to hand this over to people who are investigating, who are working for journalists, which is awesome. Not ailing enough, says Gallifreyan Ren. Yeah. Yeah, we would like to see the day. Well, I wouldn't like to watch it, but, you know, one day I hope that he does shit himself to unalivement. That would be most excellent. We can all make sick jokes about it. Actually, I say sick jokes. They'll just be funny jokes. We can make funny jokes about the fact that Nigel Farage's hero is no longer with us. No longer shuffling along this mortal coil. Yes. Perhaps he can hand over the Epstein files at the same time. Well, he's got a day. They've got to be released tomorrow, you know. Can't be asked to turn up, says Diz. Yeah, Farage didn't turn up today. So what did you think of PMQs? I thought it was a bit shit, to be honest with you. I thought Ed Davey asked a couple of good questions, but aside from that, you know, Starmer said he's prepared to take Roman Abramovich to court over frozen funds. That was the first question from Jessica Morton, Labour MP, that on this stream of the PMQs, because obviously the first stream fucked up. Yeah, so Abramovich sold Chelsea in 2022 after he was sanctioned by the US government over Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. £2.5 billion was raised. It was meant to be used for humanitarian causes linked to the Ukraine war, but it remains frozen in a UK bank account. You know, the Labour MP, Jessica Morton, and what Starmer said is basically honour your commitment you made and pay up, you know. So that's good, I guess. We had two questions from Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, expressing horror at the Bondi beach shootings, and that Starmer said that he's going to increase funding for security for Jewish communities by £28 million. And he's ordered a review of protest and hate crime laws aimed at preventing hatred. Christmas gags, bad enough, bad at their job, bad at everything, just bad, just really fucking bad. Enoch said that the PM didn't have the baubles to ban the doctor's strike. And Starmer hit back saying that Badenoch was that lot with the Muppets Christmas Carol. Badenoch called Starmer's cabinet a bunch of turkeys. It was all a bit shit. It's like two very deeply unfunny people trying to be funny at each other. It's like a rap battle between two people who can't rap and aren't funny and aren't witty. I just, yeah. That ear shot was a setup. The ear wouldn't be there. We talk about Trump getting shot. Look, I've just had a conversation with Tan about this, actually, as we were just before we came on. So we don't really know much about guns in the UK because we don't use them very much, and our experience of guns, really, for the vast majority of us, comes from Hollywood, in which guns are akin to magic wands that'll do anything you want. You know, you want to take out the bad guy, shoot them with a gun, and they instantly die. They don't start dying and then actually die 45 minutes later, like what happens to most people who are shot with a gun, because you've got to bleed out. It takes a while. And then you've got the idea that you can use a gun to shoot a helicopter and the helicopter will explode. That literally will not happen. You got the idea that you can what else can you do? You can use a silencer on a gun and it goes, it just makes that noise. No. The bullet in a gun breaks the sound barrier, just like the crack of a whip. Funnily enough, that crack of a whip, the bang of the gun, is the whip or the gun breaking the sound barrier. That's what that noise is, right? And it's fucking loud. So in the case of Trump nearly getting assassinated, and I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there saying it was a setup, right? A few things I want to say about that. First of all is, if it was a setup, they're idiots, you know? They're not going to try and do some double bluff or something. They wouldn't have someone who was a MAGA kid from a MAGA family to do this thing, right? They would have had a black trans woman. That's who they would have had to do it. If it was a setup and they were just going to kill them, and then it was going, oh my God, look, it's the trans people doing it. It's the woke Illuminati, wokerati doing it, right? But beside that, this idea that there's no way that Trump could have been shot in the ear because that would have not worked somehow. It's an argument from incredulity, and also it's an argument from people. No offense to people who have mentioned this in the chat, but people who have never really been around guns or bullets, who will say this kind of stuff. People that I know who have been around guns and bullets because they've been to war tell a different story, and the story is this: when a bullet passes the sound barrier, it creates a shock wave. And when a bomb goes off, it's not necessarily bits of debris that get stuck in your face that kill you. It can be the shock wave. If you are close enough to the bomb going off, the shock wave pulverizes your internal organs. Now in Hollywood, a shock wave just is a friendly push. You know, you're running away from the blast and it just pushes you over, and then you stand up and go, oof, hey, I'm all right. In reality, if a shock wave of that magnitude hit you in the back, it will mulch up all of your internal organs and you would die screaming. Which is why people die in bomb blasts, even though no shrapnel has hit them, no bit of the bomb has hit them. But the shock wave is enough to shatter their insides, like it does to glass, etc. So there's that. So you've got a bullet that is not only traveling faster than the speed of sound, but there's also got a shockwave alongside it, and it's also fucking hot. Incredibly hot, because it has just housed a fucking explosion of gunpowder in the bullet. The casing flies off, the bullet flies forward. That is an explosion, and that is hundreds of degrees C. So you have a white hot piece of metal passing by your head. And I don't think it hit him. I don't think it nicked his ear, because if it did nick his ear, the metal of the bullet nicked his ear, then he would have had a brain injury. Like, he'd probably be dead, actually, if it had nicked his ear because of the shockwave. What I think happened, and what my, PhD physicist girlfriend sort of said that she thinks this happened as well, but, she's not an expert, she's only got a PhD in physics, is that it went an inch away from his ear. About an inch, maybe 2 inches, whatever. And what nicked his ear was the shockwave, essentially. Just, air. Very, very fast, superheated air. Very, basically burnt a bit of his ear. And that caused it to bleed a little bit. But not a real injury, not a bullet. So we're thinking of it like, oh, he's just been nicked by a bullet. It doesn't go down that way, apparently. I don't know. I'm no expert on it, but Trump is such a cunt. He is the world's worst cunt. And he's fucking incompetent. He's never got away with anything in his life because he doesn't have to, because someone clears up after him. He can brazenly steal documents from the government. He can brazenly have people storm the Capitol. He can brazenly cheat in elections. He can do all this stuff. Not only does he get away with it, he gets support from the fucking Democrats who do daft shit. Like, I don't know, put Joe Biden, when he was clearly not fit for office, up against him in an election. And then instead of having primaries or something and doing it all properly, they put Kamala Harris in at the last minute and went, here you go, Kamala, see how you go, eh? Trump didn't win that election. I think that he fucking cheated, but aside from all that, he didn't win that election. The Democrats lost it by being a bunch of fucking dickheads. So no, I don't think that it was a big setup and it was a thing to help Trump win the election. I do think that people want him dead. I think there's enough nutters in America. If someone can win the Euro Millions twice, so stats are, the probability is that at some point you're going to have some fucking nutter who's got a gun, who has an opportunity to take a pop at Trump, and they fucking will. As, demonstrated last year, almost twice, by two separate people. The guy who shot Charlie Kirk, he wasn't a a liberal. He wasn't a Democrat. He wasn't a woke lefty snowflake. He was on the right. He was a part of a MAGA family, you know, part of a conservative Republican family who thought Trump was great, but he wanted to be, Charlie Kirk or whatever. But Charlie Kirk was the wrong flavour of, I don't know, fascist. Yeah. And then Andy says, the blast damage from a bomb bursts internal organs that have air or gas in them. Yep. Shockwave. Suppressor, not silencer. Okay. Still, it doesn't make things go. In Under Siege with Steven Seagal, he was Kim Jong-un's best friend now for some fucking reason. He uses a plastic bottle. He's got like a plastic bottle, like a plastic water bottle, and he uses it as a silencer. And you're just like, what the fuck? The way that Hollywood writes guns is the same way that Doctor Who writers write the fucking sonic screwdriver. It's just a fucking magic wand. It's just a Swiss Army fucking magic wand that can do anything that it needs to do in the given situation, the ultimate MacGuffin. Whereas none of us is going to run around the universe with a sonic screwdriver. It is possible to get guns in America, and people just do not realize just how fucked up they are. For instance, in One Battle After Another, which is a great movie, it is a really great movie, there is a scene in it of a heavily pregnant woman firing a gun with a big pregnant belly, and she's firing a gun next to her baby, which could conceivably render that baby deaf. Depending on how far in the development in the room it is, that could seriously fuck up the baby from the sound alone. So, you're watching it going, these guns in these movies, they just don't operate like guns in the real world. They just don't. There is noise on the actual video. They had sound barriers around the mic to exclude external sound. Those bangs aren't the sound of a gun. It's the bullet passing the mic, says Dot 4x4. The Trump admin aren't intelligent to set up stuff like that, says Graham. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they don't have to get away with stuff like this. They don't have to. The Trump can just be the most horrible, wretched, vile, evil human being ever in the history of the world. And he knows he'll get away with it. He doesn't matter. He doesn't care anymore. They're never going to have another election. If he can have, he's going to stay in charge as long as he can, but they're not going to have another election. Elon fixed the voting machine using his AI Grok, an example of how has been shown on YouTube. Look it up. Andrew, thanks, but if you get AI to do something intelligent for a change, that I'll be quite impressed. I'll be very, very impressed, because at the moment it can't even make a list of elements that have 6 letters in it. That's OpenAI, the latest version of ChatGPT. A company that has had $1.5 trillion apparently ready for investment in the company. And yet it cannot make a list of which elements of the 118 in the periodic table have 6 letters in. It put Uranus on the list. It put argent on the list. It put neon, argon, and xenon on the list. So no, I don't think he used Grok to mastermind getting rid of the changing people's votes. But there were some voting results from certain places in America that were very, very, very sus. I.e., places where no one voted for Kamala Harris. No one, not a single person voted for him. I don't think it was Elon's AI that did that. I think it was simple corruption. I think it was human beings just not counting the votes, losing the votes, ignoring them, putting them in the wrong pile or whatever it is. But it does seem a little bit sus that there are certain areas of America, wards, that voted, they call them wards, whatever they call them, districts or whatever. They voted, some of them vote. I mean, these are places that are pretty Republican, but yet some people voted for Democrats down ticket for the mayor, for the senator, for the House of representative, but didn't vote for Kamala Harris. None of them, not one. That's statistically very, very improbable. And that's not an argument from incredulity. That's an argument from just mathematical probability. It's not like, oh, but could they do that? Would they do that? If they could get away with it, absolutely they would. Absolutely they would. Blanks still cause a lot of damage if they are fired at point blank range. It's a very good point, Chris C, because of the shockwave. Yep, you're absolutely right. If you ever watched Darren Brown even, can't give his real name, doing his Russian roulette, which was one of the most terrifying bits of TV I have ever watched back in Channel 4's crazy days when it just used to do the maddest shit on Channel 4 along with that. And that reality TV show where they made people think they'd gone into space. Yeah. I hope they don't change Santa to AI, a list with only short words. I'll never get my tricycle. That's very true, L. But yeah, they did an episode where he played Russian roulette, and he said even if it's a blank, and they got a bottle of water, they got a plastic bottle, and fired a gun at the plastic, and it just blew the plastic apart because of the shockwave. So yeah, even if you have a gun that fires blanks and it's fired next to your head, it'll do some damage. It'll do some real damage. And also, I mean, there's a good chance that it could, rupture your eardrum, which is something else that's never done in movies correctly. You'll see someone they're down there going, quick, shoot them. And like someone over their shoulder has got like a gun and is shooting it like this far from their ear. Whenever you see like in American shows when they go to the shooting range and they've got the big ear defenders on, that's because shooting a gun is really fucking loud. Like, it's insanely loud. It's like eardrum shatteringly loud. And one of the things that a lot of veterans who've been to war, been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan, have problems with later in life is their hearing, because it's a shockwave, isn't it? It's very, 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 very loud. I hope they don't change Santa to... I've read that one. Brett Cross lost a child in Uvalde mass event, knows his stuff. Elon, that's from Brett, thank you. And Elon did not ask Grok to figure out, but to follow his instructions to reassign the top votes to the other candidate, knowing the predicted results in black areas. But why did he have to use AI for something that would just be a routine program? You could just do a program on GitHub. I don't understand. He's got a legion of programmers working for him. Well, why would you use AI? AI uses fuzzy fucking logic. It could just tear up with a picture of a kitten with the eyes of a child, and you're like, well, this wasn't what I asked for, AI. Grok is particularly just shite. Unreliable. Let's say unreliable. The situation we are with AI at the moment is it's just making a load of shit, and it gets a lot of things wrong, and it still needs a human being. Every bit of AI needs a human being to just check over it, because it's just so bad at checking its own homework. No sense of context, no sense of continuity. It's not AI, it's statistics. Yes, that's what I mean. Linda Hamilton got serious ear damage in Terminator because of noise from a firearm being too close. Yeah. And that was a blank. That was firing blanks. I think it's in California where it's perfectly legal to own an RPG, but not legally to own a Barrett 50 caliber rifle. It sounds about right. You can't access the machines. Brett says, geezer called Brett Cross discusses gun reform on the USA on YouTube. Yesterday's pod's worth a watch to the end. An old geezer who wants more guns in school. Sorry, Brett. You want me to watch someone who's an old geezer who wants more guns in schools? I'm sorry, but no. There is absolutely no way on fucking earth I'm going to watch a video on YouTube of a guy saying what this country needs is more guns in schools, when 2 busloads of children are killed brutally, violently, have their brains splattered all over the walls in American schools every week. 2 busfuls every fucking week in America. School shootings over there are off the fucking charts. Over 50,000 people die in America each year from firearms. That is homicides, that's suicides, and that's accidents. That's more in recent years than die on the fucking roads. And they have a murder rate 5 times higher than it is in the UK. All of their crime rates are higher than they are in the UK, in fact. And also, if you take away the gun crime, if you take away the murders committed by guns, they have a murder rate on a par with like Belgium. It's like 1.5 per 100,000. Here in the UK, it's 0.9 per 100,000. Last time I looked at it. But I wrote my final year dissertation on gun policy in America, gun law in America, back 25 years ago, and nothing's changed. In fact, it's got worse. And the things that the American government do to make fuckloads of money out of arms manufacturing, because every time a bunch of kids get murdered in a school, the value of the arms companies on the stock exchange goes up. So that's a good time to buy. So, keep your thing on your phone. If it comes up, mass shooting event in some elementary school in America, it's a good time to buy. Yeah. No, Brad is a debater. He had a mad fucking guest. No, Brett was saying it is a podcast where a caller called in to say there should be more guns in school. Oh, thank God for that. Okay, I will watch it then. Jesus Christ. The way I read that, and it's probably my fault for just not reading it properly. But the way I read that, I thought you were trying to get me to watch a gun person saying, "Yeah, more guns." There were people over the weekend after the horrific massacre on Bondi Beach saying, "Hey, if the people at the lighting of the Hanukkah ceremony, if they had guns, it wouldn't have happened." Yes, it fucking would. What are you without a fucking gunfight? You can't stop a gun with a gun. You can stop it maybe with a bulletproof vest or by not letting people have guns in the first place. But you can't. What are you going to do? Shoot a fucking bullet? It's flying at you at the speed of sound. Okay, right. Faster than the speed of sound. No, defo not hate fucking guns. Oh, good, because I fucking hate them too. They are perpetually in a state of terror. Yeah, a state of terror. People make bad decisions and spend money to try and get safe. And they're constantly told on American TV, American news, American politics, that the only way for them to feel safe is to have more guns than the person next to them. But 50,000 people dying violent deaths, dying really quite horrifically violent deaths, and a good chunk of them are children under the age of 18. Huge numbers. Shooting each other, shooting themselves by accident sometimes, borrowing their dad's gun and, playing cops and robbers with it. That was a thing when I was growing up. I don't think you see this too much now. I mean, maybe you've got like Nerf guns and stuff, but like they used to give out like replicas of guns. You used to go to the sweet shop and you could get like these sweets that were shaped like cigarettes. Do you remember them? You could buy like a pack of 20 of them. And then I think it was like chocolate, but it was covered in rice paper and looked like a cigarette. You could sell them to kids. Kids go, "Yeah, I've got a cigarette." And then they'll buy a toy gun and it would go bang, bang, little cap gun. Bang, 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 bang. And that was the game we played, shooting each other like cowboys and Indians. I'm like, fuck. You look back now and you're like, what the fuck were we thinking? Like, seriously? There were more guns than people in the US. There are indeed. That means that there are there's 300 million guns in the US. And not surprised they needed guns back in the 1800s brutal time. Yeah, but we all went through it. This is the mad thing, Sean. Like, you can say, why they needed guns? Because the mythology of the Wild West, which only lasted a few years. I mean, it wasn't like a big thing. But the idea that you could only keep civility in a community if you had a weapon that could administer instant death to anyone who came, looked at you funny. It's a myth. Because you know what? There's 1 billion people out there who grew up in societies that don't have fucking guns, and people follow the law. Because if they don't, they get tackled to the ground by a police officer and they get put on trial and they get put in a fucking jail. It's like Americans all the time will make excuses. They'll go, well, no, we need our guns because a bear might come. We need a gun because we need to protect ourselves if someone it comes into our house. We need a gun in case, someone looks at me funny. And I'm with the Australian comedian on this who just said, fuck off, mate. just fucking say you like guns, you know? Just say you like guns. Just say you like them. Just say they make bangy bangy noises and they make you feel powerful. They make you feel strong. They make you feel like a strong, powerful man. Just say it. Just admit it. Don't make these fucking excuses about how you need it to stop a tyrannical government. You got a government at the moment that's going around with masked vigilantes. Well, not even vigilantes. Vigilantes go after criminals. These people are going after like women and children and like kidnapping them and throwing them in the back of vans. That's actually happening now. You're not imagining it. That's actually fucking happening. And they're like, oh, we need guns because otherwise, you know, we wouldn't be able to, protect ourselves from a tyrannical. Go on then. Go on. Protect yourselves, you knobheads. Anyway, 500 million. Fucking hell. 500 million guns. Someone's made a lot of coin, haven't they? A 12-year-old in one state can get a license to own a long gun. Yep. They sell guns to children. They have guns that are painted pink in certain states to market them to little girls. The problem is our obsession with the Second Amendment. Yep. But not the Third Amendment. No one ever mentions the Third Amendment. What is the Third Amendment? Who fucking knows? What's the Fourth Amendment? Fuck if I know. I think it's something to do with quartering people in the... You don't have to put up with the government trying to quarter troops in your apartment in Greenwich Village. So that's good. Glad they put that in there. Isn't the ultimate MacGuffin Star Trek Technobabble? Yeah. The dilithium crystals, the tachyon field. There's a tachyon field. Why does this weird thing happen, Captain? It's a tachyon field. What are we going to do about this tachyon field? Oh, we'll just flood it with neutrinos. Okay, cool. Let's throw these in. It's just weird to be a fully grown human and think it's entertaining and cool to carry a device with you all the time that's specifically designed to kill other humans. That is not a toy. Yeah, Graham. They're murder toys. That's what they are. They're murder toys for children who never fucking grow up. That's the crazy thing, especially in areas prone to tornadoes and hurricanes. They use the flimsiest building materials. Are we talking about American homes like are just made out of fucking plasterboard? That's really weird, isn't it? Like they don't use bricks. They just use plasterboard to build these houses. Fucking what? That's just the way they do. And they have a house that's 50 years old. They're like, oh, go knock that down. It's too old now. The idea of living in a house like this one, which is over 100 years old, is just batshit to Americans. You live in a house, it's 120, 35 years old. Oh my God. Is it a museum? Do you live in a museum? Like, no, we just built them properly to start with. But there you go. Random stat on X just now should induce another Graham rant. The US has over 900 billionaires and their wealth soared by 18% to 6.9 trillion this year. 18% in a year. Thanks to Donald Trump, and that's why they all supported him. If you're not a billionaire, you shouldn't be supporting him. That's all I want to say about that. Anyway, you got 1 minute and 49 seconds to put in a super chat. And we'll get confetti, or at least I'll put in the confetti. So, I used to like Channel 4's red triangles. What? The red triangles? Were they like the red arrows? It is a weird thing. They have wooden walls too, American home. Oh, they're just fucking, you know. Wait until the BBB kicks in, January 26th. What does the BB... What's the BBB? The big... Oh, is that the big bastard bill? Oh. I thought it already kicked in. I know it's kicked in for some people with the fact that their insurance premiums have gone up, haven't they? To a ridiculous sum. Red triangle on Channel 4 was a warning of sex. Oh, cool! Yeah. Good stuff. Well, that was most of the content on Channel 4 in the 1990s, I seem to remember. We had Euro Trash. We had Espresso Bongo, which was a TV show where they fast-forwarded through the boring bits in pornos and just showed the good... Oh, no, I think I made that one up. But they definitely had Euro Trash. They had they had a lot of movies from the 1970s that they would play with a lot of nudity in them, and just gratuitous, unnecessary to the plot, but you know, why not? Coolant leak, says Sean. Yeah, Cool. I did in Star Trek where they were just like, "Oh, I was fed up of being on this fucking set of a spaceship, or fed up being on the set of another planet. Hey, how about we go next door? Because they're filming a cowboy film next door. So what we'll do is we'll say we're going into the holodeck, and then we'll just use their sets, and then we'll put that out as an episode. And what can happen in this one? Oh, the holodeck goes wrong. Every single series of Star Trek, The Next Generation, every single season, there was one episode where the holodeck went wrong, wasn't there? I see the writer's room just sitting around going, okay, it was hard yakking. I mean, they did like 24 episodes a season, didn't they? That's a lot of stories to tell. And they were there, we got like, okay, we've got 20 solid stories here. All right, what can we do for the last 4? Can we do one where the teleporter goes wrong? Okay, we'll have a teleporter goes wrong. And can we have one where the holodeck goes wrong? We'll do a holodeck goes wrong. Okay, yeah, we can do that. It's all good. And yeah, every fucking time. Does anyone else know? We need a big baddie. Okay, how about we have these like aliens, right? And what they do is they get humans and they turn them into robots. What, like Cybermen from Doctor Who? No, not like Cybermen from Doctor Who. Entirely different to Cybermen from Doctor Who. Sounds a bit like Cybermen from Doctor Who. No, it's not. It's different. Okay. Any other ideas for villains? How about, right, stop me if you heard this one before. How about the robot, right, the artificially intelligent machine has an evil twin brother who was like the prototype and then is evil because there's something wrong with its wiring or something. And the bad car, we will call the good car Kit and the bad car. And then we could have Data, and then we could have Law. And it could be like Knight Rider, but entirely different from Knight Rider. Because in Knight Rider, Car would say things like, I'm the prototype, you are you are an inferior production model. And in Star Trek, you could have Law saying to his brother Data, he made me perfect because he gave me emotions, and you're just an afterthought. You're the afterbirth of Dr. Noonien Singh. I'm not saying they nicked all of ideas, but yeah, Crystalline Entity was pretty, interesting. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Sitter, that was just you, Graham. What was just me? Don't know. And neutrinos don't interact with anything. Oh, that's where you're wrong, Chris. See? Because if you get a whole lake underground full of chlorine, one of those trillions of atoms in that underground lake could be hit by a neutrino, and it could cause it to gain an extra electron, which turns it into an isotope of argon. Possibly. I don't know. I might have just made that up. But no, neutrinos, that's when we have like a solar burst, isn't it? We get an extra load of neutrinos. Neutrinos are going through us all the time, but they're more likely to interact with something and flip a 1 to a 0 or a 0 to a 1 in a circuit board somewhere and cause all kinds of havoc in Airbus planes. Oh my God, there's so much in this. Right, anyway, Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Imagine Americans' reactions to my sister house, part of which was built in the 13th century. Oh my God. That's brilliant. The 1200s. That would absolutely blow their mind. Enterprise D never ejected the core. Too expensive in effect. Voyager did eject the core, but had a spare that wasn't used. Oh, that's nice that they had a spare, like warp core. Right, I need to go. Got an online meeting with a new shipping provider who is 75% cheaper than Royal Mail, but still using Royal Mail services. Excellent. Okay, crack on, Chris, and everybody else. Make it make sense. So if you enjoy talking about Star Trek and everything but politics, you will enjoy tonight's show at 6 o'clock. I tell you now, we're not going to sing. We are not going to sing, but Rachel and I are going to be counting down the top 20, top 30, top 50, top 1,000 Christmas songs. And we're going to be roasting some. I'm going to be roasting some. I've got knives out for a few of these Christmas songs. Don't worry if you haven't been whamageddoned yet. We're not going to sing the songs. We're not going to play the songs because we get demonetized. But we are going to be talking about Christmas songs. And just Christmas in general. Let's get all Christmassy. Let's get all excited about Christmas next week, because it's Christmas next week and it's time to get excited. Look how excited this guy is. He looks well happy. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us on this PMQs. We suddenly went off on a mad tangent about guns and Star Trek because ADHD. Yay. And hopefully I'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight. If not, see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 o'clock for Morning Brew. And until then, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Oh, hang on. It's just come to my attention that I said that I'll do confetti and I didn't actually do confetti. So we're going to have to do confetti. Should we do confetti? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Confetti! Woo! Okay, that's your lot. Bye.